Okay, so the other correcting errors. Okay, so let's calculate this. I'm calculating it for September, but I forgot to update my date and I left that April. So now we're going to come back in here and we're going to go, we want to calculate the management fee and it's for September. So I'm going to go to September and select September and calculate, and it's going to say there are unposted records. Okay, so I'm going to go to unposted records because I always use the same settings and hit display and it doesn't find it. How do we find this so we can get rid of it? Well, you can obviously just keep changing the settings until you find it, but that's sort of like not a great way to find it. You can go to payables, management fee, unposted management fee register report. And then you're going to put in your property ID and leave everything else blank and hit submit. And this will give you the exact settings that you need to enter into that screen to find that unposted fee. So we're going to go back, management fee calculations. Now I know I've got to go put in April 1st. And then, so I have to put unposted and hit display. And there it is. And now I can delete it. So that's why I'm saying when you calculated it, if you're not going to post it right then, I would just go ahead, export any reports you want to look at, and then delete it and come back because it will calculate it exactly the same unless you change a setting. So now we're going to come back and go, okay, we want to look at the unposted management fee detail. So if the numbers don't look the way you expect them to, this is what it is going to tell you where it's getting the information it is using to run the calculations. So for example, if you run this and there is a K in this column instead of an R, it's pulling in a check. So this is a great way to figure out, okay, it's not calculating the way I thought it would. What is it including or excluding that I was expecting it to include or exclude? But it's not perfect. So again, just keep in mind checking those GL accounts, validating everything that you can before you start. Okay. So we looked at calculating, we looked at correcting, we talked about unposting and unwinding, and you can't backdate changes to the calculations. And by that, I mean, if you go to your setup and let's say this one, you're like, well, we've calculated a bunch, but then we realized that the percent was supposed to be 3.5%, something like that. We can work with that. You just have to reach out to me. We can figure out a way to make those corrections. Again, it would just be an overlapping pool. We would recalculate, we would do some validation. So just let me know. But mainly check those calculations the first few times and make sure you're correct. And then you should be golden unless something really unusual happens, and then you shouldn't have to worry about it. Keep in mind that the report that everyone should have access to, called chart definitions, includes a section that has the charge codes and explains how they should be used to make sure everything is included or excluded from management fees appropriately. So keep that in mind as well. All right. I think I have covered. Okay. When we go to validate the calculation, the amounts do not match. So you mean the receipts that the receipt amount it's pulling don't match? Like I say, if you see that, I would first run that unposted management fee detail and see what is there. Just hit calculate and then go to unposted management fee detail, because this is where you'll see if there's a missing receipt. Generally, that's the only, I would expect that it's pulling in a check or something that's reducing your fees, because otherwise it should definitely match the total receipts that you have received, adjusting for these things like we did here, adjusting for things like the termination fee or something like that. It should match. But that's the number one thing that I have seen, is that there are other fees that maybe they didn't realize should be excluded and weren't being excluded, or vice versa.